Fine.
Good.
But how does one tell the difference?
Well, super simple.
Venom is a Marvel Comics creation often seen in relation to Spider-Man. You either like the character or you do not. With the second Venom movie coming out, many fans will be flocking to see it. Venom is CGI heavy. This is Venom without CGI, what it really looks like behind the scenes. Venom CGI. Venom is a massive stunt and CGI-driven movie. A lot of concept art was created before they got to filming the movie. CGI is a big part of what later turned out to be the final product. Before each scene is shot, the actors and director and members of the crew are required to get together and walk through the whole shot or scene verbally before it's rehearsed to perfection. There are scenes in the Venom movie where Tom Hardy is looking at his hand. Add CGI and he's not looking at his hand, but the hand of the Venom creature inside of him. In reality, he makes a small fist before striking a bad guy, but in the film, his small fist is actually a large black Venom tendril fist. In another scene, the tendrils wrap around a dumbbell near his foot and he flicks it and throws it against a bad guy. In reality, it was only his foot moving. The tendrils and dumbbell were added in with CGI later. In many scenes, Tom Hardy looks like he's doing a strange dance, but he's setting the scene for the CGI to be incorporated. Later, the strange dance moves become him being semi-controlled by the creature inside of him. In these scenes, Tom Hardy was looking at a tall crew member who acted as the eyeline reference for the creature. Movement was created with reference markers and later animated to create a realistic humanoid. In the scene with the motorcycle stunts, they used a selection of professional stunts as well as VFX. That created the finished products that looked so good. In one scene, Tom Hardy is thrown off his bike while ramping. In reality, the bike was anchored in a controlled setting in front of a blue screen. Hardy was pulled off the bike with wires. Then he was lowered back onto the bike again as if the creature had helped him get back on the seat again. In another scene, Hardy is pictured suspended between two fast-moving SUVs. The vehicles were filmed first, and Hardy and the creature were added in later. Interesting to note that the night they shot the first reveal of Venom in the street, it was extremely chilly, with temperatures hovering around -6 degrees Celsius. The crew were astounded at how Tom Hardy and the rest of the cast managed to keep their shivers hidden on screen. Many of the crew stayed as close to their on-set heaters as they possibly could. One can imagine the actors are paid a lot more than the crew, so their incentive to endure the cold is a bit bigger than the rest of the crew. More insider info about Venom CGI. According to creative director Paul Franken, a lot of what happens in the movie includes the following. The process of creating Venom meant that the actors were first filmed in front of a green screen and later the detail was added. A lot of the action was captured using witness cameras. These are basically SLR cameras used to capture everything happening in a scene for continuity purposes. The main cameras are not used for this. Then in post-production, everything used on set is recreated and used again. When Venom rises up off the street at the end of the bike chase, they slide Tom Hardy up a rig called the Frankenstein rig. The rig uses an arm to rise up and then lifts the actor upright at the same time. In this instance, as Hardy rises up, Venom forms around him while he's holding a baddie by the scruff of the neck. Tom Hardy was laser scanned to millimeter accuracy, and then when the goo flows across his face, they CGI it exactly the way his face is shaped. Franklin further says what's fantastic about Venom is that there's a lot of comic book material to draw from. It was fascinating to see how different artists have approached the character over the last 30+ years, each one responding to Venom in a unique way, broadening the character's spectrum. The challenge, though, was to make Venom appear real, as though he were actually present when the cameras were rolling. We looked at a wide range of real-world references and drew inspiration from sea critters, worms, and other slimy creatures, which was a lot of fun. He said the most important thing to realize about this film is that it's an adaptation, not a pure translation of the character and his or her world onto the screen. The challenge is to figure out how to transform something that had previously just existed as a sketch, complete with all of the accompanying stylization, into something that can live and breathe as part of the film and stand shoulder to shoulder with the other members of the cast. Franklin has grown with Venom. He says that he learned that Venom has an insatiable appetite. On a serious note, however, he said he was struck by how much enthusiasm there is for Venom among the general public, which spurred them on to do everything they could to honor the spirit of the comics while also creating something that would serve as excellent entertainment for those who are unfamiliar with the symbiote. The best results were always obtained through a close collaboration between VFX, digital, and SFX, physical on set. They needed to make certain that they they knew what the SFX were doing on set so they could connect it to the activity of the CGI creature in post-production. In addition, the stunt department provided incredible physical action, which they often had to back into post-production to provide the motivation for the action, such as when Venom picks someone up and throws them across the room. The other major component of this was the makeup department, which provided incredible makeup effects. The most effective method to accomplish this was through frequent communication, which ensured that they were all on the same page when it came to the story that they were telling on screen. Franklin said the moments in the merge fight towards the climax of the film were the most difficult to do. That's where one could see Venom and Riot whirling together in a roaring maelstrom of alien flesh were the most challenging to shoot. For a brief time, the surging goo opened up and one could see Eddie and Drake trapped inside the symbiotes struggling for their lives. Within a three-dimensional Jackson Pollock abstract artwork, there was a lot of intricate animation going on. Final fight scene without CGI. Tom Hardy, the star of Venom, has released a video depicting how the final battle in the film appeared before CGI was used. Even though Venom has always been a popular character, he has seen somewhat of a comeback in recent years. According to the comics, Eddie Brock was reunited with the symbiote after a long period of time. The present campaign of Donny Cates has been a resounding success. In the first film, Venom faced off against another symbiote known as Riot. As Hardy's counterpart, award-winning actor Riz Ahmed played the role of the human host in the film. The battle, as expected, made considerable use of computer-generated imagery. Fans may now view what the fight looks like without the use of computer-generated imagery. Hardy released a video of the confrontation between him and Ahmed's Riot to his Instagram account. The footage can be seen here. The video, on the other hand, portrays the conflict before the CGI symbiotes were introduced. Without knowing it was for Venom, one may think it was just a strange dumber dance, but that's not the case. Despite being funny, the film provides an informative glimpse into how much choreography is required in a cinematic battle scene, which is a valuable insight. It appears that the two performers had to memorize all of the moves in the video and be in perfect time with one another in order for the final product to look decent after the CGI was applied. Final thoughts about Venom and its CGI. The most difficult aspect of the project was finding out Venom's physical reality and then figuring out how to communicate that to the cast and production crew. They used traditional gimmicks such as markers on the ends of poles, but they also had an extremely tall stunt double who was made even taller with a unique hat to serve as a tangible reference on set for the actors. When asked about Venom 2, Franklin said in order to ensure that the second movie is every bit as exciting as the previous one, he has been working with the team to put everything in place. Eddie and his symbiote friend are expected to reach new heights in this continuous adventure, and Franklin said he's looking forward to it. We agree that the next Venom should be a fantastic CGI and action spectacle. We are done with the video for today. Do you like the Venom character? And what's your take on Tom Hardy? Is he the perfect actor for the role?